Hey, what's up, Coach? Welcome back to the podcast. Today is episode 220, and I know the title probably got your attention, and I have a funny story to share today, and this will definitely relate to you and your business. Just got to make sure and listen to this all the way through. Now, before we dig in, I mentioned this on every podcast, but if you are brand new here or if you've been listening to these episodes for a while, we have a daily podcast here, Monday through Friday. Every episode goes out at 8 a.m. Central Time, and I put a lot of time into this, and I give a lot of value. I would think I would, because there's been some coaches that have reported back to me telling me they have six-figure businesses just by listening to this podcast and implementing and taking action. And I know if this podcast has helped you, definitely just leave us a review here. This really helps us get this podcast in front of more coaches worldwide. And that's my mission here. I want to help more kids. And the way I can help more kids is by helping more coaches start and grow their businesses. Now, we'll get back to the podcast here. So again, the title is The Dude on Steroids. So a couple months ago, I started training this new kid. And I had never met his dad before. I'd only met the mom. I'd only corresponded with the mom. And one day, his dad showed up to practice, and he showed up to the session and got there towards the end and came near where I was training this boy. And when I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, this dude is freaking yoked. He was wearing this tank top, and he was like probably like a foot taller than me. So he was like around 6'10", and just absolutely like jacked out of his mind. And we started talking after the session was done, and I introduced myself. And he was super nice. And I just straight up asked him, I was like, man, how did you get in this good of shape? And he was like, Ben, the last 20 years of my life, there hasn't been one day where I haven't gone to the gym. And when he told me that, I was like, dang, I thought you were on steroids. I didn't say that to him, but I was thinking that in my head. And this shows you that when you are consistent, day in, day out, over a long period of time, you get the results that you go after. Now, I can guarantee you, if he did that for 18 years and then he let himself go the last 2, he would not look the same way he does. If he did that for 19 years and 6 months and stopped working out the last 6 months, he would not look the same, right? And again, this shows consistency and discipline. And I straight up told him, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like that's an amazing goal that you've achieved. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, I don't plan on stopping. This is the healthiest I've felt. And I just feel really strong. And I was like, yeah, you're pretty ripped. You are pretty strong. And I thought of that, when that happened. And I was like, you know what? This is really good material for our podcast, because I see a lot of coaches out there. They'll watch one of my YouTube videos or they'll listen to one of these podcasts and they'll be hyped up and they'll go work that day and they'll be motivated, but they don't stay the course, right? I would not be on this podcast right now unless I've stayed the course the last 11 freaking years with my business. And trust me, there's many times where I wanted to quit, many times where I was whining and complaining. And I would say most days when I wake up, like I am not motivated, right? Not motivated. Like I can't just be, no one out there is just self-motivated, all right? You have to be self-disciplined and you have to do the work even when you don't want to do it, right? So the next time you see someone at the gym or you see someone that's super jacked, right? They're not always on steroids. I would say a large percent of those people have been lifting their whole freaking life and they deserve the results. And it's the same way with any successful business owner. They didn't just wake up and magically, have success. They've been doing everything day in, day out. And this leads me to my last point here. If you are a coach that understands this concept and you're like, you know what, long term, I want to build a successful business. If that's you, I invite you to join our mastermind program. I know you're the right fit. If you've listened to these podcasts for long enough and you haven't talked to me over the phone, I feel like there's something wrong with you because if you listen to this every day and you haven't at least taken me up on a free phone call to where we can talk about your business, you know what? I think now is the time. Now is the time for us to chat. And all you have to do is go to www.buildmysportsbiz.com, click on the mastermind button. From there, you and I will get connected. We'll talk over the phone and we'll see where your business is. We'll see where you want to go, and I'll see if I can help you. I can't help every coach, right? I drop my ego. When I talk to coaches, I know I can't help every coach. But the ones who I can help, I know it's the right fit, and the results speak for themselves, right? We post results every day on Twitter, every day on Instagram. I talk a lot about that on my email newsletter every day. So the results are there. If you're ready, if you're committed, just head over to our website and you'll see the next steps from there. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow.